Yep.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, Columbus Crew President, General Manager Tim Bezbatchenko. Grant Little, do you want to start us off?
Microphone.
Oh,
Yes.
so
Microphone.
I'm so sorry, everyone. False alarm. Thank you, Justin. I'm so sorry. Justin, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. Test it one more time, please.
Take two.
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Bezbatchenko. Grant, do you have a question?
Yep. Season kicks off on Saturday. Can you just talk about the excitement for this new chapter in Crew history?
Yeah, really excited to kick off this season. It's a fresh start.
We gotta let him hold the mic.
I'm so sorry about that.
Just a-
Hold the mic. Okay.
Sorry.
Please.
So we're really excited about this season. Obviously, we have a new coaching staff, and we're returning a number of starters. We'll start with the ones that the players and our fans all know, which is Lucas, Darlington, and Kucha. We have our 3 DPs coming back, and they've had great preseasons. So really excited to get them on the field, especially with Kucha having a full season. On top of that, we have our core of our roster returning, and what we're seeing now is the returns and the investment that we put into the youth, our academy and Crew 2, and especially with that team that won the championship last year in MLS Next Pro, which players can step up. And they've shown in preseason so far that a lot of them not only are ready to be depth players, but have a meaningful impact on the team. So really excited about this roster right now, excited about lower.com field filling up on our home opener in a couple weeks, and the new content that we're producing for Apple TV, our new broadcast partner. So there's a lot of exciting things that are happening for this season. Clay, go ahead.
Is it, kind of like a new dad? I mean, when you start a new era, the anticipation of it unfolding, and you address some of it there. Are you nervous, excited?
Yeah, really about, new coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have a new leader in the locker room, in Wilfried and his coaching staff, you want to see how they manage things like team chemistry and the small challenges that happen day to day in training, or how the team is going to evolve over the course of the season. And what I've been really impressed with was Wilfried's understanding of how the principles we're trying to execute in preseason, and they're going to be different than we will be trying to do in midsummer and then different in the fall. So the team is going to be look one way now, and obviously we're going to try to pick up as many wins as we possibly can at the beginning of the year. But then how does it progress and you evolve and become better throughout the year? And that's something that it's exciting to see Wilfried understand, as well as the coaching staff.
Do you expect more, I read, more of an attacking style, more in your face?
Yeah.
Explain where he wants to go, or where you want to go with that.
Yeah, so we want to be a team that's known for scoring goals, especially at home at lower.com field. So we want to attack, we want to possess the ball when we can. We want to control and manipulate the opponent with the ball to create goal-scoring opportunities. And so sometimes that means having possession of the ball in the final third. Other times it could mean sitting back and taking a counter-attacking approach. Both are exciting in different ways. What's great about our roster, we have the flexibility to do that. And then Wilfried has the tactical acumen to understand when we need to do certain things in order to achieve a result. But at the end of the day, we know this team is going to be entertaining. Again, like I said, a full year of Cucho, deepening the chemistry and the connection between Cucho and Lucas is really important. And then can we push Darlington higher up the field? We all know he has a keen for special moments. In fact, all 3 have an ability to make special moments. So how can we create those more often this season?
Can I get one more? Can you talk about hiring your new female executive? Is it Kristen?
Kristen Berger.
Kristen, incredible resume. How did you land? Did she want to get back home? Can you talk about what she brings to the table?
Yeah, Kristen is an incredible professional. She's been with us almost a year now. And so what she brings is someone who has vast experience in professional sports at the biggest stage in Madison Square Garden, right? So understanding the pressures both on the sporting and business side is important. So we partner in trying to drive not just a great product on the field, but a great game day experience. We want to be there for our partners. We want to show up for all of our season ticket members and provide benefits that go beyond the field of play and extend into a lifestyle. And I think Kristen really knows that. She's a pro. and she's great to work with.
You wanna bring them all back each week, right?
Right.
The fans.
Yeah, of course.
Your partners,
That's right.
yeah.
As the fan perspective, off-season, the exciting parts are new signings and
Mhm.
whatnot. You guys haven't done a ton of that.
Mhm.
What are the reasons in your eyes that fans should be excited that this team can, be back in the playoffs this year and not just be close like the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I think everyone has their definition of an exciting offseason. And for us, it's about what is the result on the field and how do you achieve that result. And again, I'll go back to our goal of being a club that's identifiable and having an identity that people know about, not just domestically, but internationally. And building this new facility, Ohio Health Performance Center, and a new stadium, attracts talent at the youth levels. And we want to be a team that moves players through our pathway from the academy to Crew 2 and then the first team. And I think that's what we want to do first, is look internally at our talent, sign players from the academy, from the Crew 2, from the draft, and that would include Phil Quinton and obviously Will Sands and Sean Zawatsky, who had significant minutes in Crew 2, Jason Russell Rowe, and it goes on and on, Mo Farsi. These are the players that we want our fans to get excited about. Everyone knows Aiden Morris, right, and his story. It's incredible what he did in the MLS Cup. And that's probably the exception of one of your first, most meaningful minutes is in an MLS Cup final. What normally happens as the roster gets a little bit older and you make some changes, you start to bring in players from your youth system. And you want to find the right mix of veterans, core, and youth in your roster, and that's what we're doing. So I would just, I talk to our fans, we're looking for additional players, maybe an additional defender, but it's harder to assimilate international players. And why not look internally at our youth and our players who know our local market, or maybe even fans of the Crew, and look at them first, and let's get excited about those players.
Is what Philly has been able to do a similar blueprint given their academy?
Yeah, I think there's a number of clubs. I think Philly, Red Bulls, Dallas, Toronto are all teams that have been able to take advantage of the youth movement and investing in player development. And if you look globally, the ability to move players up in your system and then participate in the import and export of players, I think it's the next wave of MLS. You're starting to see it, a number of players who play for the U.S. men's national team who are playing for the top clubs in the world, Juventus, Leeds, you name it, Bayern Munich. They started in MLS in these academies, and it's okay for us to say, let's develop some players that eventually are going to move to Europe to play for these top clubs. And what happens is someday they will return, or maybe some players will choose to stay in MLS as we become a better and better league, and what we think will be a top league in the world in a few years.
At Wilfried's introduction, you talked a lot about the goal for you guys to be aligned. We talked about it, and you've touched on it with the pathway for young players. How much progress have you seen them make in those young players in the development, even just so far in preseason?
We've made a lot of progress because there's a uniformity in approach in the curriculum and the style of play. One example with that would be Wilfried bringing Laurent Courtois from Crew 2 to training for our first phase. So the ability for Laurent to see what we're doing on the first team in formation, in even training sessions and activities. And then when Crew 2 started last week, I go out and watch training session, and there you see the same session being run that we ran on the first team. So I think that's an example where you're seeing, again, uniformity, a one club philosophy. And the same thing will go down, it'll trickle down to our U19s, our U17s, and U15s. So you have this consistency. So when we do call up someone like a Taha, who's on our U17, is called up to the US U17 national team World Cup qualifications, he comes into training, it's familiar to him. It's not just in the same location, but the actual drills and activities are the same that he's doing, albeit at a higher level.
If Crew 2 doesn't accomplish what it did last year, is this as easy to do, to kind of make that transition to bringing those guys through quicker?
Well, the biggest accomplishment of Crew 2 was developing players and getting them ready for the first team. We love that they won a championship, but that is not the primary goal of Crew 2. In fact, it's not, whether or not it's the way the contracts are structured for our staff and our coach. It is to develop players and move players along. Yes, part of developing is learning how to win. You know, I've been a part of a previous club where your second team was struggling to get results because we were probably a little too young. And that has an impact on confidence and your ability to do certain things on the field when you're not getting results. So winning is part of player development, but I would not say winning the championship is the primary goal for Crew 2. The success of Crew 2 last year and where you saw from the beginning, given it was a first-year franchise, to where it is now, it's been incredible. And the challenge for Crew 2 this season is to again, which players can we move from the academy to Crew 2 and start teaching them to be professionals and then eventually move them up to the first team.
Justin, if you want to close us out.
You mentioned the leadership under Wilfried. What are you looking for in the leadership of the players when Jonathan's gone and you have just a few pieces left from that 2020 team? Who are you looking for in the mix of filling that role and staying in that role for a while?
We have a lot of players that have already and were leading last year and this year. I think Wilfried, like some coaches, use sort of a leadership council to run the team. So it's a mix of mostly veteran players, but even some young players who have experience despite their age. So, you know, obviously Milos Degenek is someone who just got off a successful World Cup. He was a leader for the Australian team, and so he's a vocal presence on the pitch. Steven Moreira, again, someone who's played overseas and the top leagues, is taking on a larger presence. Darlington Nagbe has always been a leader in the locker room. The players really look to Darlington to kind of set the tone. So professional, plays with personality. Maybe he's not the most talkative, but he plays, like I said, with personality. So there's a number of players who are looking to step up. Cucho improving his English every day and looking to him to play a bigger role, and obviously Lucas. So there's a number of people that will step up to be leaders, and each year it's a little bit different in terms of the flavor and style of the team and how the personality of the team, and a lot of that will be determined by Wilfried and his leadership.
Pat,
You just mentioned potentially adding a defender. I know you talked about that last week. Where in the process would you say you guys are in that?
Yeah, so we have a pool of players, targets that we're looking at. I would say that there was one player that we were keen on that, due to the disruptions in Turkey caused by the earthquake, has really slowed down those talks and maybe prevent us from actually getting that player. So we have a number of players we're talking to. The window is open until the end of May. Obviously, it's going to be a challenge for us to get someone for opening kick. But we are actively looking. We are confident in this roster right now to be able to get results. I mean, it is something. It's more about the way we want to play and how we want to build out. That we're looking for a new player more so than anything on the defensive side.
thanks, Tim. Thanks, everyone.